Today, today I'm going to talk about Windows versus Linux. The main reason I took this topic was I'm actually confused between like what to choose. Should I use Windows or should I use Linux? And I was pretty confused, even though I'm familiar with both. Like I, wa- I got exposed to Windows a long time ago. Like my first laptop was actually pre-installed. It was pre-installed with Windows 10 at that time. At that time, actually Windows 10 actually got released and it got to push to all the new laptops that were available at that time. So I got to use Windows pretty early, like before uh, 8 years or before 9 years. Oh no, maybe more before that. Like about 9 to 10 years before. I used Windows 10 at that time. Then after that, after few couple of years, I changed my laptop, and in that laptop I started to experiment with Windows and Linux both. On the Linux part, first I installed Linux Mint. After that, I tried Ubuntu. Then after that, I tried a couple of Linux distributions. I was distro hopping, and I was actually really intrigued by the software development system of Linux because it is obviously open source and a lot of people are contributing to the project and there are a lot of desktop environment in Linux, and it was at that time I was really curious about it and I was researching deep into it, and I really love to try Arch Linux at that time. Arch Linux was like the latest distribution for the pro people or the allied people, like they would say, like telling they are using art arts Linux was like a pride, because the thing is that installing Arch is very difficult process, very tedious process, and maintaining it also would take some time to manage those stuff. Like the thing is that after a couple of updates, ours used to break a lot. I actually don't know much about right now. Maybe it's stable right now, but I'm not completely sure. So I used a system that's based on Arch. It's called Manjaro Linux. It was pretty easy to use because they already did the hard stuff by themselves and created the entire ISO file. Then you can just install, just take Windows or Ubuntu or Linux Mint or any other OS. So I used that for a couple of years. And after that, I switched to Windows, then switched back to Linux. The thing goes on. And then after, like before 8 months, I bought a new laptop. It's a HP Omen. It's come with Ryzen 7 7840HS processor and RTX 4050 GPU. Actually, Linux actually supports this GPU, but doesn't have complete capability to use its entire power. So I stick with Windows till right now. But before few weeks, I started to think that using Ubuntu will be pretty useful for me because I'm obviously learning web development and most servers are currently running on Ubuntu. So I would like to learn the command line stuff. So I thought of trying Ubuntu. Then I installed Ubuntu and it was pretty cool and I actually enjoyed a lot. But there were a couple of drawbacks because I cannot install ChatGPT as an application. I can use web app and same case for Perplexity and few other apps also. And while I tried to record videos in OBS Studio, it didn't work well. I did work, but I don't know, it didn't work well as Windows. And couple of softwares had similar issues, and I faced a upload issue on Perplexity. Actually, I am using Perplexity right now. Like I'm a premium member of it, so I'm using Perplexity for my research purpose, like to research like what are the things I am going to learn, like and like what is Node and how Node work, what is Express, how Express work, and how the project going to work, like what tools should I use to make the project. Like I used to research a lot in Perplexity AI, and it did work, but the upload functionality was broken, and there were other couple of similar small bugs. Maybe I can fix it if I put a lot of time into it, but the thing is that prototype is pretty tight scheduled, so I need to cover a lot of things in this small period of time. So I decided to ditch Linux and come back to Windows. So yeah, it was a journey, but I actually loved it. Loved it. So which was should you use? Should you use Linux or should you use Windows? Like if you just look at my case, you will say it's obviously Windows is obviously better because you this Linux for a couple of times and you are currently using Windows. No, it's not actually like a black and white answer or yes or no answer or Windows or Linux answer. Like what is the use case for you? Like if you are a casual user, you can use both. Both are fine. Actually prefer Linux over Windows for casual users. If you are just like surfing on internet or watching videos or doing some minor stuff or doing stuff related to website or doing printing stuff, like any kind of basic steps you can use with Linux. Linux is much better. And if you use an older laptop or PC, you can use Windows. I'm sorry, Linux. Linux run far better on older and low powered laptop or PC very well than Windows. Linux actually need far less CPU power and memory to run it, and it can run butter smooth also. So for gamers, I would actually prefer Windows, even though Linux gaming has surpassed their own limitations and they are going far and beyond. Like they are actually last couple of years was pretty great for Linux and Linux gaming because Steam OS is actually based on Linux. So Steam itself is port, not porting, they are supporting a lot of Windows games, and Wine is helping. Wine is a tool that you can run Windows applications on Linux. So gaming in Windows is pretty stable right now, but I still prefer Windows because it's obviously better. Probably one day Linux will going to catch up on that. But at this time, if you are a gamer, I would urge you to use Windows over Linux. For coders or developers, it's actually good to use Linux instead of Windows. You might laugh at me because I am not using Linux, because the thing is that I don't have time to configure all these small stuff. I actually have very keen interest in that, and I would like to tinker a lot in this OS, and I would like to make my own custom OS using Linux. That's one of my goals. But at this moment, I don't have time. That's the main thing. I would like to experiment with Linux, like my good, like I did on my good old previous days. Like I used to tweak Linux a lot, and I used to customize a lot. But at this time, I don't have time to do it, so I just mainly install Windows. So if you're a developer and if you're a web developer or a data science analyst or anything, any kind of developer, Linux is actually the best choice for you if you have time to tinker a little bit, because in Linux all applications won't be natively supported and all things won't work as you expected, like if you are used to Windows or Mac. So you have to configure a bit to make everything work perfectly. So yeah, those are my stance. If you can make Linux work for you, that will be the best choice for you. what else will be except for gaming. On gaming, I actually prefer Windows at this time. In the future, it may change. If you're gaming, use Windows. For any other people, I will urge you to use Linux. If you don't have time to configure Linux a bit, you can stick with Windows. So yeah, that's my stance. Thank you.